Yo guys, today we are going to talk about Ace Attorney Investigations 1. Yeah, so this is just going to be a non-scripted Ace Attorney video, and I really want to talk about this game because I feel like my views on this game are quite different to most people. But today I want to talk about why so many people find Investigations 1 to be an unmemorable game. And this really isn't a video talking negatively about the game. I like this game a lot, and I think I like this game more than most people. That being said, I don't think it's a coincidence that this is the game that people find the most unmemorable. And I think I can shed some light onto why that is. So the first and biggest reason why I think Investigations 1 feels more unmemorable to the mainline games is that it is a much more mystery focused game. Investigations 1 is a game where you're always doing something. You will have casual conversations from time to time, but the amount of times you're actually solving the murder is much more than any other game. Like, you will constantly be piecing information together with your logic system, you will constantly be cross-examining people. There's a lot more gameplay, and because of that, a lot of the moments in Investigation 1 will be mystery focused. So in the first case, most of your talking points will be what happened in the crime. It will be about, this basketball court moving from one place to the other. It'll be about who took the master key and how they could have done it. It'll be about the positions of the books on the shelves and how those changed. It's these mystery details that are kind of the main focus of Investigations 1, and I really wouldn't say that for the mainline games. In the mainline games, I'd argue that the focus is more on the story and the characters. So like in Ace Attorney 1, a case that a lot of people find memorable is Turnabout Goodbyes. Now think about the mystery in Turnabout Goodbyes. So the first case is literally just some small case on the boat. So I don't remember how it exactly went, but it was like, you fire 2 shots, the guy jumps off the boat, and the actual murder just took place in his shack. And then the second case, I think that one is even smaller, the case with Von Karma. Miles shot his gun, that hit Von Karma's shoulder, and Von Karma killed Gregory Edgeworth. That was it. In Turnabout Visitor alone, you solve more things than you do in that entire case, and Turnabout Goodbyes is the final case. But the moments that people find memorable in Turnabout Goodbyes are probably not that. It's probably more of, Phoenix crying. That one scene where Phoenix cries, that class trial when Phoenix was younger. And the reason why that probably feels more memorable is because, one, it directly focuses on the main characters, Phoenix and Edgeworth, and it's more emotional. People remember that more because they really felt something when that happened. Other memorable moments are the moments for Maya where she feels useless. Again, it directly impacts the main character, and a lot of people just feel sympathy for her. You also have moments that will probably either really weird you out or really make you laugh, like Polly the Parrot. Again, that probably gets out a lot of strong emotions from the player. Compare that to Investigations 1, where it's a very in-the-moment game. Piecing together how the crime was solved probably will be really fun in the moment, but once you're done the game, you probably won't remember that feeling as much. Now, the second point is repetition. Investigations 1 is a game where things are not repeated that much. They'll tell you once or twice, and that's it. You have to remember it. If you don't, you're screwed. The game does not like to tell you things over and over again. Compare this to like Ace Attorney 1 again, where you see that scene on the elevator with Edgeworth, his dad, and Yanni Yogi like 7 billion times. You see that so much. Memorability also comes from other smaller factors. For example, names. Some of the names in Investigations 1 are pretty complicated, like Cleus Pelanio. Those are hard names to say. I know that's a very small thing, but that is something else that can affect memorability. Another smaller thing could be character design. A lot of Investigations 1 characters look very normal. Like Lauren Pops, Aurora Tenero, these characters just look like very normal people. They don't stand out as much as people like Luke Atme or Furio Tigra. Another thing is like character quirks. I'll bring up Investigations 2, this isn't even a spoiler, but like a lot of the characters there have a very key quirk that really gets shoved in your face. An example is Justine Courtney. She always talks about how she's the goddess of the law. And then we got Sebastian DeBest, who always talks about how he's the best prosecutor. And yeah, the characters in Investigations 1 do have quirks, but I feel like Investigations 2 characters take their quirks and repeat them a lot more often. Adding on to characters, for characters like Shilong Lang in Investigations 1, their backstory is literally so short. I'm not even joking, I think Shilong Lang's backstory is like 2 or 3 lines in that game. Like why he hates prosecutors and stuff. That is very short. That is not the focus of the game. They give that to you, and if you like somehow just scroll past the text, then you've probably just missed Shilong Lang's backstory. I do think out of all the games, Investigations 1 needed the transcript the most. Like it needed a transcript where you can just like go back and see what dialogue you missed, because you can miss a lot of things if you're not paying attention. And the story of Investigations 1 in general is a very quick paced story. They don't repeat any details that much. Like what I like about the story of Investigations 1 is that story feels like another case. It feels like there's 6 cases in the game because it also takes a lot of effort to sort of remember about what happened in the story and piece it all together. A perfect character to sum up why Investigations 1 characters are very forgettable is Ernest Amano. What's funny is, Ernest Amano is actually a big part of the plot. However, no one even realizes that he has such a big part in what's going on. This is because he's already arrested before we even get the chance to learn about what he has to do with the smuggling ring. So you don't actually get to see his sprites and stuff once you learn about what he did. You only get to hear about it. And this makes a lot of people forget that Ernest Amano even had a part in the story. Not only that, but as we talked about Shilong Lang's backstory and how that was very short, it's the exact same thing with Ernest Amano's role in the story. It's very, very short. I'd say there's only like about 10 lines of description of what Ernest Amano has to do with the story. So yeah, they don't really like to focus on that. That's not a huge part of the game, and that's another reason why people just forget about these characters. Also, I want to go back to the point of main characters being involved. So like in Ace Attorney 1, there's a lot of main character involvement. For example, Mia dies in the 2nd chapter. That's a huge event that you really can't forget. You know, Turnabout Goodbyes, it's all a story about Phoenix, Edgeworth, and Larry. And even Maya has so many moments to that story, like the final farewell. As you can see, the main characters are really involved in that game. In Investigations 1, yes, you have Turnabout Reminiscence, where all the characters are involved. And by the way, people say Turnabout Reminiscence is the best case in that game. And because the characters are very involved in that case, I think that's why people say it's the best. People remember it more, and they find that to be the best one. But then you got the final case of Investigations 1, and the characters themselves are not too involved. Like, yes, they're solving the mystery, but apart from that, there's not too much involvement. Kay is like the only one. Kay is the only one with huge involvement. Shilong Lang has a little, but the main people you are avenging in that case are like CCU and Dead Man. It's just these 2 random people. Like, those are the characters you are fighting for. You know, compare that to Turnabout Goodbyes, you're fighting for Edgeworth. Compare that to Farewell My Turnabout, you're fighting for Maya. So again, the lack of main character involvement is probably why people don't find the game as memorable. Now, even with all I've said, I do think enjoyment is actually still a part of how memorable the game is. And that's why I'm going to end with sharing my 2 experiences of playing Investigations 1, and I'm going to share why I enjoyed my 2nd playthrough of the game much more than my 1st. So there are 2 ways you can play Ace Attorney games. One way to play them is to experience the story as it goes. What I mean by this is when you're in the investigation, you'll just collect clues, you won't really think about it, you won't try to connect how the murder happened, and once you get to the cross-examinations, you'll figure out what to present, and you'll experience the unraveling of the mystery as they tell you what happened. The other way to play these games is to solve things beforehand. So when you're investigating, you're already thinking about what may have happened, you're already piecing things together, and in my opinion, this is the way you want to play Investigations 1. The first time I played the game, I wasn't having a lot of fun because I was just collecting the evidence, and once they required me to use logic, I just used it, and that was that. There wasn't too much thought to it, I wasn't enjoying the game. But the second time I played it, I tried to solve everything as quickly as I could. And this made the game so much better, because as you're collecting the evidence, you're already thinking about what may have happened, you're having this image in your head about how the crime took place, and you're constantly putting things together. And when you play like this, the game just increases in pacing by so much, it becomes much more fun to play, and it doesn't really feel like you have a break. Like, once you've solved one thing, they're taking you straight to the next thing, and you'll just keep solving tiny pieces of the mystery until the full thing is completed. And they are some pretty good mysteries since they're very complex and have a lot of detail to them. So yeah, the next time you play Investigations 1, I encourage you to play in a way where you're trying to solve the cases as fast as you can. I don't know if that will help you, but it really helped me. And also when you're listening to like details of the story as well, don't just listen to them, like try to piece together what happens as you learn more information about the story. In my opinion, this makes Investigations 1 a lot more fun. I'd still say it's one of the most unmemorable games in the series, but I did remember a lot more from the game on my second playthrough, and I just remember how much fun I had with the playthrough in general. So yeah, that's all I have to say for today. Comment down your thoughts on Investigations 1, and if you do replay it, comment down on if your thoughts on the game changed, and I'll see you all next time.